Yo, what up, baby? It's DJ Sus1, the feature presentation podcast. It's been a minute, but we back. Got my brother Kwazi in the building, my brother Joey Franchize, and my brother Pretty Lou. And the reason we came back, besides we're relaunching the podcast, is that the brand new official James Gunn Superman trailer just dropped. The only person who's watched it out of the four of us is Pretty Lou, but he's not going to say anything. We're going to do a trailer reaction right now live with you guys. And before we get into that, I want to ask you guys, how excited you guys are. Pause. Kwazi, how are you feeling about what you've seen with James Gunn Superman so far, and what are you hoping for the trailer that just dropped?
I'm excited, man, because this is going to be the first time we see Superman on screen, obviously, since the Snyderverse movies. James Gunn's got a whole new vision. I like what I see. It's definitely more in the spirit of the old school Superman, the Christopher Reeve look. And listen, there's going to be a lot of action. There's definitely going to be some comedy. But I think all around it's going to be a good movie. I'm ready to see what he's going to bring to the table.
Joey.
I'm a little mixed on it right now. I expressed my feelings about it when the first teaser came out, and I just wasn't crazy about the crypto dog. I mean, I understand how important he is to the Superman lore and in the comics, but at the same time, it is James Gunn. I loves what he's done in the past. That Suicide Squad movie he did with DC before acquiring this position now he holds. On top of also the stuff he was doing in the MCU with Guardians of the Galaxy. So this is interesting for me.
I got to agree with you on the crypto whole opinion. Before I actually saw it live in the first teaser trailer. After I saw crypto in the teaser trailer, then I was like, nah, I like the way this looks. And especially when they did the sneak peek with the robots.
That was cool.
And the whole all-star Superman feel with crypto. I thought that was incredible. Now let's get to my brother Pretty Lou. Before Pretty Lou gives his opinion, I just want to say Pretty Lou, like all of us, is a Man of Steel Zack Snyder fan, but we're more accepting of seeing the future of Superman with James Gunn and everything. Pretty Lou, because we're friends, I know he has not been. So he's one of these Snyderverse fans that don't even want to give James Gunn's universe even a shot. I told him, if you're going to do this with us, we got to be fair. So Lou, you already saw the trailer. Don't tell us anything. Based off of the energy I just said that I know about you, how do you feel?
I'm sorry. First of all, it's not that I dislike James Gunn. I wasn't a fan of his past movies, especially like Guardian of the Galaxy. I tried watching it so many times, and I just can't get myself to really like the movie.
Which, by the way, you're one of the
it's just a lot of
minorities with that.
It's just a lot of decisions that he has made during the time he took over with Warner Brothers, and him moving Henry Cavill, and like I fell in love with the characters that was out now. And there wasn't great movies, but I feel like he should have still stuck with the same actors and all that. I'm still trying to give it a shot, but sometimes my heart, what killed my heart is that a lot of people has been trying to make DC right, and they've just been effing up all the time. So I'm hoping that this man right here, who took so much in charge and just moved everything around, I hope he doesn't do the same thing, So let's see.
Look, I'm a big Zack Snyder fan, a Man of Steel fan, a Henry Cavill fan, but they messed up that universe. Man of Steel was a 90% good movie to me. There was a couple of mistakes in it, but it was a 90% good movie. They rushed to compete with Marvel and rushed the whole story and rushed to Batman v Superman without giving us a Man of Steel sequel 2, without giving us a Wonder Woman first, a movie film first, without giving us an Aquaman movie first, without setting up the whole entire, platform and having people who aren't comic book heads or superhero heads like us an opportunity to fall in love with these characters, and they rushed it and they messed it up. So I agree that the whole thing had to be reset, regardless of how much I love Henry Cavill and love that whole vibe that snapped.
I agree. I just don't agree of changing the characters. I don't know. That's
all right. Well, look,
you were comfortable with the casting from prior.
I was very comfortable,
with the exception of Ezra Miller.
And the exception of what's his name, Momoa playing Aquaman. I don't think he should have never played Aquaman anyway.
Nah, he was a
Don't
good
get me
actor.
wrong. I'm happy that he is now Lobo because that is his fit.
You didn't think he was good as Aquaman? I mean, I don't
Nah.
know.
He was, well, it was $1 billion movie, brother.
I was going to say, fun fact, that's the only one that cracked $1 billion in the Snyderverse. So.
Yeah, but I still, I don't know.
All
But
right,
you know
hey,
what?
guys.
That was mostly...
Maybe I'm just too deep into the comics.
Well,
you know,
between you and Jason Momoa feel the same way because I don't think he expected to play Aquaman. He thought he was going to get Lobo from the beginning.
right?
Eventually, he
All
ended up
right,
getting.
guys, look, we're gonna watch the new James Gunn Superman trailer. I want to say this before we watch it all together. At first I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about this movie because the images that had came out of David Corenswet as Superman was weird at the beginning. But everything I've seen in the past couple of months has looked for me has looked amazing. So I think he looks incredible as Superman, and I just think it just looks very well done. Let's watch the trailer. Are you guys ready?
Are you being serious right now?
Yeah,
You'd let me interview you as Superman.
sure.
Ready?
Let's do it, Cronkite.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
Recently, you've come under a lot of fire for
I don't
what
know if
some
it's a
might.
lot of fire,
It's a
but-
lot. Today, the Secretary of Defense said he was going to look into your actions. That's funny?
My actions? I stopped a war.
Maybe.
Not maybe. I did.
In effect, you illegally entered a country.
This is how you're gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman. Did you consult with the president?
No.
You seemingly acting as a representative of
I
the
wasn't
United States will
representing
cause
anybody
more
except for me.
problems around the world. More.
And doing good.
I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die. Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Your choices, your actions. That's what makes you who you are.
Superman. He's not a man. He's an it. Somehow become the focal point of the entire world's conversation. I will not accept that.
I cleaned your boots. I'll go get them for you.
You have a dog?
All right, guys, that was the trailer right there, the new official trailer for James Gunn's Superman. Let's start with Kwazi. Kwazi, what did you feel? What did you think?
It's interesting. I like the interview point of view. So yeah, this is gonna be pretty exciting. The whole should Superman interfere with the politics side has always been on the table. Even Snyder did that. But I think it's a good place for them to kind of have some controversy in the movie. Whole lot going on in this trailer, so I definitely got to rewatch it. But some stuff we've seen before, but obviously a lot of new stuff in there. I'm definitely loving the listen, I love, out of all the casting though, Lex Luthor, they nailed it. I mean, I haven't even, the guy said one word, just Superman in the trailer, but he's got the look. So he's got that menacing Lex look, which is dope. It's no more silly stuff. I mean, R.I.P. Gene Hackman, still love that movie, but the Lex portrayal was a little too silly for me. This one looks like it's going to be on point, and I definitely hated Jesse Eisenberg and freaking the Snyder. So I
Did
think
you like Kevin Spacey? Kevin Spacey when he
Kevin
did.
Spacey was cool. Yeah, he was cool. But this Lex Luthor, I think, is going to be the one. I just have that feeling. And there's one thing: James Gunn is great at casting. So even though Lou, you didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy, that movie is casted so well. So I think it's going to be the same deal here. So the look of the trailer, it looks dope to me. Like I said, I'm going to have to rewatch it. But yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
Joey.
It was impressive. Again, what Kwazi said, I thought the interview aspect of it and him just kind of figuring out or telling Lois, or pretty much Lois questioning him about his role in humanity and, the things that he does and the decisions he makes. And, he's doing it obviously to save lives. I'm curious to know what that whole kaiju fight. I wonder if that's the beginning of the movie. And I'm assuming that's why he's getting interviewed by Lois. That's just my prediction. But I thought there was some interesting stuff. I know there's somebody from The Authority in the movie, which is another James Gunn film that's part of the DCU slate that he's got. I think it's the one where her hands like changed into like chainsaws. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I forgot which character she is, but I'm gonna go Google that in a few. But seeing Metamorpho too, I wonder what role he plays. Mr. Terrific is said to play a big role in there. It was cool to get a couple scenes of him in there, but I agree that Lex Luthor, I think they got that one on point.
Yeah.
I think that's really good. It looks a lot better than the previous teaser trailer. The way the Fortress of Solitude looks, I thought that was really dope, and how Lex infiltrates that. That seems, yeah. I'm curious to know what the story is. I'm glad they're not giving us too much of the story. We're just getting like excerpts probably throughout the film. Obviously, that's what trailers are for. But you can't really pick apart what the movie's gonna be about. Like you just get a good idea of. I think what James Gunn is building is a vibe, and I'm curious. Something I'm definitely gonna watch, and I'm impressed by this one. I'm gonna watch it again though. I gotta pick those little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Lou.
Yes.
Honest opinion, not biased opinion.
I felt like I saw the same thing with the other trailer. It just has extra stuff. Kwazi, I will. It's the same thing. It's just the same thing. All right, but I get it. Maybe it's true what everybody's saying. Maybe they just don't want to give away too much, that's a great thing. I agree with Kwazi. Yo, I think he nailed it with the Lex Luthor. That's definitely. I'm more hyped for Lex Luthor than I am hyped for Superman. I'll be honest with you. And you know who else I'm hyped for? Joey, what's his name?
Metamorpho.
I've been a fan of him when he was with the Outsiders, with Batman and the Outsiders. I've been a big fan of him. If y'all don't know, he was part of the Outsiders, if you guys are into comic books, and then that's when Batman joined forces with the Outsiders, and he had a whole year of comic books with the Outsiders. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. More than I'm looking forward to Superman. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's just something about this Superman is not clicking to me. It's just not. It's not clicking. But I'm giving it a chance. Let's see how the movie goes. But I am more excited for Lex Luthor and all the other characters.
Me personally,
I'm definitely not excited for the dog.
Me personally,
I like how they did at the end too with the dog.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm excited for the whole entire thing. I think David Corenswet looks incredible as Superman. A lot of.
He looks like Superboy.
No, I don't agree with that. But a lot of other YouTube platforms do not like the suit. I don't think it's as good as Henry Cavill's suit at all. But I don't have a problem with the suit, and I think it's a brighter, more hopeful version of the suit. And I think that I think he looks good, man. I think it looks good. I think what's Shorty's name? Rachel.
Oh, the Lois.
Lois Lane.
Yeah, Rachel, who plays Lois Lane. I feel like
Rachel Brosnahan.
Yeah, I think she looks.
Not to cut you off, Sus. Another reason why I'm kind of more interesting now in the movie was I love the idea between them two doing the interview.
That was cool.
Yeah,
That was cool. That was super dope. I'm looking forward to see that because the only one who could get to Superman's skin and Superman can't do nothing about it is Lois Lane.
Well, I think she looks incredible as Lois Lane. I think Nicholas Hoult looks good as Lex Luthor. I can't say he nailed it. I got to see his performance in the actual movie, but he definitely looks the part. And I'm glad it doesn't look like Man of Steel. You know, a lot of Snyder fans, which I'm one of them, are upset that, you know, it's not looking exactly like that world. I'm excited to see a different take on Superman that's not like, you know, the whole Snyderverse. And this is the first time we're getting a Superman movie with all these superheroes that's in it in the same universe at one time. You know, minus, you know, Justice League and all that. I'm excited for it, man. I think it looks good. Is there any complaints about the trailer? But well, we know Lou already said his complaints. Is there any complaints from Kwazi and Joey?
I think overall, since you brought up the other characters, I think that might be a complaint. It's not a complaint for me, but down the line might be a complaint for people thinking, okay, well,
might
you
be
know,
too much.
the Snyderverse got critiqued because he jumped in too fast with Batman v Superman and all these characters. It's like they didn't give everyone their own individual. So that may be a complaint, but we still got to see the movie. As far as the trailer goes, yeah, I don't really have a complaint on it. Like I said, I gotta watch it again. I'm like you, Sus. I'm excited to see what James Gunn is gonna do. I really think this movie's gonna be the it for us as Superman fans. We're finally gonna get as Superman fans, we need a win because all the iterations before, even though we love Cavill, it didn't hit like monetarily. Let's just be honest, it just never hit with the universe. I mean, you know, the Returns was a flop too. So this is we need the win. Can't.
By the way,
Superman flop.
Which by the way,
Kwazi, you should have never even brought up The Return. That wasn't even a movie.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as we haven't had a successful Superman, like as far as the box office goes, since Christopher Reeve.
Which by the way, guys, everybody in the internet world is trying to say that this has to be $1 billion movie to set off DC properly. It has to be super successful. I disagree. I just think it has to be a good movie. I think people have been tired of how bad some of these recent DC movies have been, and some of the Marvel movies on top of that. And I feel like it's not going to be in the $1 billion conversation. I might be wrong, but I don't think it's going to be in the $1 billion conversation because I don't think anybody's in a rush to go see it except for the true core DC fans because of the recent history of what's been going on with these movies. I think it just has to be an incredible movie and do some money, just some money. But it has to be an incredible movie so there's enough word of mouth for them to set this universe off.
I think the weekend opener is going to be big. The thing that James Gunn's doing right is the movie's so bright and hopeful looking. It's going to attract a lot of kids to it as well. That's the one thing the Snyderverse really couldn't do. So you're probably going to have a lot of parents taking their kids to watch this movie as well. And hopefully, and like you're saying, if it's good, a lot of rewatchability. So the numbers could go up there. We'll see. I mean, I would look for big numbers on that opening weekend.
Yeah, what James Gunn did dope was the fact, again, making it a hopeful, making it a brighter Superman, maybe put in the trunks. I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely going to have more a family appeal to it. You can get that vibe and a nostalgic one at that too for, you know, people, you know, who are fans of the original, the Christopher Reeve stuff. I mean, you got it from the score. You know what I mean? You hear it in the background. My only gripe though, again, if I had one, is just, you know, I feel like there's just a lot going on. There's a little bit too much going on, especially in the trailers. You know what I mean? And I think James Gunn, I think he's such a fan of comics, like, you know, all of us are in here, that he's not afraid to show off characters like, you know, a bowl cut version of Green Lantern with Guy Gardner. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people won't even know who that is unless you really watch like Green Lantern like that, or you understand the Green Lantern core. But it's things like that. I think that's the only gripe is just I feel like there's too much going on. Like this is the first time we're seeing Mr. Terrific on screen, Hawkgirl on screen, a handful of people on screen. I just mentioned the Authority being involved, hanging out with Lex Luthor and part of his group. And that's actually the Engineer. So just to clarify that, but that's going to be an Authority movie later on. But again, there's just so many new characters. You know, we're already living in a world in this movie where superheroes are a thing. And Superman is like a probably year 2 into his, you know, superhero, you know, job. But yeah, I think that's the only thing. Other than that, I think it's gonna do good at the box office. But I do agree with Sus that it just has to be a good movie to give people, you know, good hope for the DCU going forward.
Which, by the way, I'm hearing the screenings, the most recent screenings. I'm
Mhm.
hearing the most recent early screenings have got round of applause. So that's
that's
if
dope.
that's true, that's a good sign.
That is a good sign.
Yeah, but then those are the you know, the round of applause are probably coming from the same people that did it.
No, these are audience screenings. This guy's crazy.
Well, you know, I agree with Joey. I think there's a lot going on in that trailer. There's a lot going on. I feel that James Gunn should have just held those characters until we saw the movie. You know, it's just a lot. And you know what? Honestly, that's probably why I feel the way I feel. Those characters coming in and everything, I forgot about Superman.
That's how I felt. You know, I was like, well, is this really a Superman movie? Is this a Superman and Friends movie? I'm that's what I'm trying to, like, you know, kind of explain, because I mean, I know James Gunn's thing is just doing ensemble casts. He did it with Guardians, he did it with Suicide Squad, and it's just like he brings a toy chest to work, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna just, you know, put these guys together and they're gonna hang out and they're gonna fight together and things like that. So that's just the only thing that I'm worried about, because, you know, not to compare the two, but, you know, let's just be real. Like Marvel, I think early Marvel, they did a good job by setting them up one by one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think James Gunn just throwing all these people on the movie, it's just going to be interesting to watch. I trust him with ensemble cast, but it's just an interesting watch, and, you know, definitely something I got to check out. And it's created that interest because, you know, I want to see how all these guys are going to interact with each other and how Superman really flourishes, because I hear Mr. Terrific actually plays a vital role in this movie.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Kwazi.
Right. No, I was going to say the context is going to be important. We don't know. I'm hoping that a lot of these characters, they come in like a later act to help him, because obviously there's a bigger situation that Superman needs to handle. Probably just can't do it by himself, so he's going to need the assistance. I do like the fact that all of the scenes we're seeing Superman do superheroic stuff, but also it looks like he's not infallible, meaning, like, you know, he's got superpowers, but we see him like get dumped on his butt, like he's getting beat up, so it's not like he can just solve every problem. So I like that, because it's a human portrayal, right? So I think that's where James Gunn is going to go, right? Where you're thinking Superman's in jeopardy, like he's behind, like we know he's going to get out, but he's getting like knocked around by these robots. Then they infiltrate the fortress, which, by the way, they keep doing that in every movie, so Superman needs to beef up security. Like, come on, man.
Facts.
Come on, son. Right?
I'm happy you said that. I'm happy you
like,
said
come
that.
on, man. They infiltrate the fortress again.
Ain't nobody going to Batcave, and you know what I'm saying?
Like, geez, man, right?
Everybody's going through the fortress, though.
Why is it so
It's like
easy?
it's like the ring is
Up. Hello? Yo. It froze.
Is that they've got to jump in to help him because it's a bigger.
Hold on, guys.
They can't be everywhere at
Guys,
once.
hold on. This whole thing just froze. I don't know if it recorded that way, because everything had just froze.
Oh, keep going.
I don't
It's
know.
still recording?
Good now.
Kwazi, what were you going to say? We're going to have to edit that part.
Basically, I'm just saying, I you know, we have to see the context of the story, but what I'm saying is I'm hoping that all those other characters start coming in towards the end of the story, maybe the third act, to help Superman with the bigger issue or the problem or whatever that Lex has probably created. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping, but we'll see.
So one thing that I know Sus is going to be very happy with what I'm about to say. One thing I do love about James Gunn, and I'm going to be honest, I love that James Gunn sticks to the comic book. He sticks to the comic book, and that's why I'm a little excited to see this, because as you know, like I like what you just said, Kwazi, about this could be like Superman's second year, like he's still getting beat up and all that. That's why I fell in love with the Batman, because we knew that was year one comic book of the Batman. That Batman was not that guy who's always beating it. Nah, he got beat up. he flew out the building and he still fell and bust his ass and and everything. So I'm kind of happy that maybe that's the portray he's going with this Superman is a young Superman. Like he's still learning.
Yeah, he's still finding his way. Yeah,
he's still trying to find the way of who he is, and maybe he still doesn't know how to use his powers yet and all that stuff. So I'm that's where I'm interested about. That's the only thing I love about James Gunn is that he sticks with his comic book ways. He stays with the comic book. So, that just brightens up a little bit about this movie. That's basically it.
All right. Well, in closing, guys, I'm excited for the movie. James Gunn's Superman in theaters July 11th. I like the trailer. I'm gonna rewatch it like 19 times after we get off this.
Wait.
Oh my God!
Is there anything you didn't like?
I got to rewatch it a few more times, but I like most of the things. What do I not like about the trailer? It confused me. You guys liked the interview part. It confused me the way the interview went. Not saying I disliked it, but I'm used to Superman having a little bit more swag than flipping out like that. The way Christopher Reeve was very calm and collective when Lois interviewed him in the deck of her apartment and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be good. I'm just used to Superman having a little bit more swag and not flipping out. Like that felt like how Clark was in Smallville to me, But we'll see.
But again, that's going to be year 2 of Superman. And then keep in mind the way they're editing the clip, you can tell they're stacking it so that the interview, when we see it in the movie, it's probably going to be a lot longer, that whole scene. So he might build to a point where he starts out kind of just chill and then it builds up as she keeps agitating.
But it shows.
Yeah,
it shows the relationship, the reality of a relationship, like him and Lois too. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. James Gunn Superman. That was our reaction. That was our opinions. Follow at the feature presentation on all platforms. Follow us on all platforms. And in closing, it's May 14th. This is live. We're dropping this today. The reason I'm wearing this is because the Knicks is going to win today. I just want to close out with that.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying?
Kill these Celtics tonight, or beat these Celtics tonight.
Exactly. And I'm excited. You guys saw the Tatum Superman commercial, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then he goes down.
Yeah.
It's terrible, man.
Yeah, salute
I feel
to
bad
Tatum.
for that dude.
Salute to Tatum. Hopefully he heals quickly. But
James down just like the Penguin.
Damn.
James Gunn Superman in theaters July 11th. The feature presentation. Let's get it.